Negative exponent rule. We don't like negatives in our problems. There's a rule that says if you have anything with a negative exponent, you can rewrite it like this and make the exponent positive. If you had something like this with a negative exponent, you could flip it and make the exponent positive. Now look at this. This is a whole number with a negative 3. We have to turn it into a fraction and make the exponent positive. Of course, simplify. This one is a whole number. We turn it into a fraction, put the x in the bottom, and make the exponent positive. Notice this one is already in the denominator, a negative exponent. So we're going to flip it over, and it becomes positive 8. Now, there's many different ways these problems will look. Let's look at this one. 3x to the negative 6th. Notice this piece has the negative exponent, not the 3. So this is going to become a fraction. The 3 will stay in the top. The x will move to the bottom, and the 6 becomes positive. Suppose I had this 1 over, let me change that back to blue. Suppose I had 1 over 4x to the negative 9th. Now notice, just the 9 has the negative exponent. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it from the bottom and put it in the top. The 4 will stay in the bottom, the x goes to the top, and the exponent becomes positive. So say I had this. Say I had x to the 6th over y to the negative 9th. Only the y has the negative exponent, so it's going to move up here next to the x. There's no fraction left over in this problem. Let's say I had x to the 5th, y to the negative 6th over 4. Now, in this problem, only the negative 6 has the exponent, negative exponent. Y has a negative exponent. Because it's negative in the top, we're going to move it down here with the bottom. Now, the x to the 5th stays where it is, 4 stays where it is, and the y moves to the bottom. Alright, let's do some different types of examples. Suppose I had this, x to the negative 3, y to the negative 4. Notice there's a negative in the top and the bottom. When you've got negatives in the top and the bottom like this, you just have to flip it over and make everything positive. Say I had 2 to the negative 3 over x to the negative 6th power. Since they're both negatives, we're going to flip them over. The x goes to the numerator, the 2 goes to the denominator. And then we simplify that. Let's get a little more complicated. Let's say we had 3 to the negative 2, y to the 4th over, let's make that x to the 4th, y over negative 4. Now notice this time, there's a negative in the top. So So this negative is going to move to the bottom. So let me, so I'll read, so it looks like this so far. But there's still a negative exponent in the bottom here, so we got to move it up here next to the x. We'll go ahead and simplify 3 squared, and we get this. So there was 2 pieces we had to move. We had to move this up here, and we had to move the 3 to the bottom. Now, let me show you a couple of examples where you have to subtract the exponent. So we're going back to the division problem where we have to subtract exponents. This time, though, when we subtract, we'll get a negative answer. Because the exponent is negative, we have to turn it into a fraction and make the exponent positive. So the same rules apply for adding, for multiplying and dividing and all that stuff. Suppose I had this. Now since we're multiplying, we add the exponents together. So we're going to get 3 plus negative 9, which gives me x to the negative 6. But we can't have a negative exponent, so it's going to move to the bottom. Now, don't overcomplicate these negative exponents. I think there's 2 or 3 on the final. They're not super complicated. I'll go over those type later. I mean, it's the same kind of stuff that's on the final, but don't overcomplicate this. So here's the general rule. If you have a negative exponent in the top, move to bottom. And make it positive. If you've got a negative exponent in the bottom, whoops, you're going to move it to the top and make it positive. Alright, so try to do the homework on that, and I'll go over that later.